I was just racking my head over what to do a speech on when I turned to the clock this morning, and guess what? It's that time of year again. I would have woken up at a solid 8 a.m. today if not for daylight savings robbing me of my morning for yet another year. It got me wondering, why are we even doing this again? Something about giving farmers more time? Well, get this. Daylight savings was initially proposed by George Hudson, an entomologist who wanted more time after his day job to catch bugs. A Huffington Post article describes how he presented his idea to the Royal Society of New Zealand, and they mocked him for it, calling his idea confusing and unnecessary. But the idea caught on, and eventually the world employed daylight savings as a standard today. Well, part of the world anyway. As of 2024, daylight savings are primarily only recognized in North America and Europe. And even within those continents, there are plenty of regions that ignore the time shift. In the US alone, Hawaii doesn't recognize daylight savings on account of its constant tropical climate, so there's no difference. And Arizona, with its summer highs in the 100s, does not care for more sunlight during the day. On that note, part of the rationale for daylight savings is that it would help save power, as people spend more time outside and not using indoor electricity. The problem with this idea is that it was developed when people were only using power for indoor lighting. Not only is the energy difference negligible by as little as 1%, but a 2021 Stanford study concluded that as modern technology improves and energy consumption progresses, it's likely that this difference will diminish even further with the use of cars as people spend more time outside, or air conditioning as people stay indoors to avoid the heat. Shout out Arizona again! Speaking of staying indoors, you know what else people could be doing indoors? Not sleeping apparently. Every year when this kicks in. What this does for the layman is disrupt the circadian rhythms as they're forced to adjust to a 60-minute difference in their sleep schedules. Pardon me if I'm being facetious, but genuinely think about the last time you registered a daylight savings change. Did you consciously think, wow, I get an extra hour of daylight? Or did you talk with your friends about it and sigh a little bit because now you have to get an hour up earlier? Because now you have to clock into work or class an hour earlier than you would have anticipated otherwise. Is that worth the slight relief you get when this all happens again in the fall? Think about coordinating meetings, especially internationally. Different places apply daylight savings on different dates, with different places in different hemispheres having time jumps reversed, like Sydney, Australia jumping forward while NYC jumps back. A YouTuber named CGP Grey created this wonderful graphic in his video explaining daylight savings, and it's just such a marvel to look at. Can you imagine building around this twice a year? As if meetings weren't bad enough. The real merit behind daylight savings is that it could help prevent car accidents or deter crime because overall, having more daylight is nice. But as people, including you and me, have to set their appliances and car clocks and watches to the correct time because they don't always update automatically like our phones do, and readjust our sleep schedules and think semi-annually about the farmers, bug collectors, that this is all for, it's just hard to not wonder, is this really all worth the effort?